All right, welcome to this LEAP version of the Judiciary Committee hearing. We just have a DM agenda today. If we have a failure on the tech side, we'll try again tomorrow at 10:01 in this room, March 1st in 016. So first up is SB 1392 relating to periodic reviews of detainees in community correctional centers. This extends the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation's period of time to assess pretrial detainees from 3 months to 6 months. In this case, I was convinced by the public defender's testimony, who thought that extending it was a bad idea, so I'm going to defer that one. Next up is SB 2532 relating to crime, clarifies that security areas pertinent to a building, including a multi-unit building, are included as dwellings for the purposes of prosecuting offenses under Chapter 708, primarily having to do burglary. In this case, I did not find the public defender's testimony compelling, so the recommendation is to pass with an amendment. It's an AG's amendment to more clearly state that the areas that are connected to a multi-unit building in the definition of dwelling, just to be clear what's covered and what's not. So dwelling would mean a building including a multi-unit building which is used or usually used by a person or persons for lodging, and shall include any connected parking or storage area, entry to which is clearly restricted to only the building's residents by means of signage or security apparatus, or both. So I think this probably is most relevant in cases of condos where you have an undivided interest in the whole building, and so if someone steals something from the part that you own, then it would be considered a burglary. Questions or concerns? If not, Senator Gabbard.
On SB 2532, the recommendation is to pass with amendments, noting all members present. Are there any no votes or reservations?
No.
No vote for Senator Hawai'i. The measure passes.
Thank you. Next up is SB 2908. This prohibits residential rent increases in affected areas for an unspecified period after a severe storm warning or issuance of an emergency proclamation. It does have a defective date, so recommendation is to pass as is. Questions or concerns?
I'm going to be voting with reservations on that one. I think we really need to promote affordable rentals. I think this goes the other way, especially after what we've seen during the COVID hearings, that unless we give the landlord also control over their property taxes and their mortgages, we're disincentivizing affordable rentals. So I understand why we're doing it, but reservations.
Yeah, I mainly, normally I'm opposed to rent controls, so I would say I think we should have this at the end to see where it fits in with all the other Lahaina stuff. So that's why it has the bad date.
Okay, thank you very much.
Other concerns? If not, Senator Gabbard.
Chair's recommendation is to pass SB 2908 unamended. Chair Rhodes.
Aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Elefante.
Aye.
Senator San Buenaventura.
Reservations.
Is Senator Hawai'i.
Aye.
Measure passes.
Thank you. Next up is SB 2762. This prohibits a landlord from renting or leasing or offering to rent or lease a dwelling unit in a rent-controlled county at a rate that exceeds the rate established by resolution adopted by the appropriate city council, subject to certain exceptions. And it has a sunset date of July 1st, 2029. So it has a bad date. I'd like to move it forward with an amendment. We'll make the penalty a regular misdemeanor, which is what is described, but there's no reason to spell it out and just call it a misdemeanor. So it's really a tech. Questions or concerns? Seeing none, Senator Gabbard.
Recommendation on SB 2762 is to pass with amendments. Are there any no votes or reservations?
Reservations.
Reservations for Senator San Buenaventura. Measure passes.
Thank you. Next up is SB 2904. This amends emergency management law to protect tenants, mortgagors, consumers, and residents for certain periods of time after the issuance of a gubernatorial or mayoral emergency proclamation. So what did we do? Recommendation is to pass with some amendments, except the Attorney General's amendment to make mortgage deferments last for up to 3 years instead of rather than a rigid 3 years. Allow mortgage deferments to be extended for up to a blank number of years rather than whatever that number is determined to be. Amend deadlines relating to disputes over the accuracy of the information the consumers file to be consistent with federal law, and provide that a consumer reporting agency does not need to honor a person's request when doing so would conflict with federal law. And I believe it has a bad date too. Yeah. Oh, okay. And then also, I would like to add, I'd like to delete HRS section 127A-H, which is a new section. So it would, what the effect would be to continue to allow condo and community associations to require certain kinds of insurance. This bill would have made it so that if the subject of the insurance was likely to be part of an emergency proclamation, they could no longer require that kind of insurance. So take that out, leave it status quo in. And I think that's it. Just 1 second. Yeah, that's it. Questions or concerns?
I have a question.
Senator Elefante, followed by Senator San Juan Ventura.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I'll be voting with reservations in light of some of the testimony from the Hawai'i bankers, as well as the credit unions and the broad nature of that. I did vote yes in the previous committee, but I didn't see any specific changes to address some of their concerns. Thank you.
Okay, Senator San Juan Ventura.
I just have a question on your proposed amendment. I'm assuming it's referring to page 13, which the bill requires prevents the requirement of the purchase of insurance. So is your amendment now going to allow associations to require residents to purchase insurance?
Yeah, it just keeps the status quo because they can require it now, certain kinds of insurance.
Okay, so I'm going to be voting with reservations because especially during an emergency, as shown after Lahaina fire, purchasing insurance has been cost prohibitive. And so
Yeah,
I kind of like it originally, so reservations.
Okay. Yep. Other questions or concerns? If not, Vice Chair.
On SB 2904, the recommendation passed with amendments, noting the WR votes from Senator Elefante and Senator San Buenaventura. Any other reservations or no votes? Hearing none, the measure passes.
Thank you. Next up is SB 3011, makes it unlawful for any non-government agency or agent thereof to operate a weed whacker in or within 100 feet of a residential zone, except in specified hours. Recommendation here is to pass with an amendment. So I'd like to include government entities in coverage except in case of emergency. So technically we'll delete the current exemption for government entities and then add a proviso provided that government entities and agents acting on behalf of government entities may use leaf blowers. I'm sorry, this is not leaf blowers, right? This is weed whackers. This is weed whackers in during the prohibited hours in the case of an emergency is defined in section 127A2. Yeah. No, I think the title of the bill is. No, I was just going for weed whackers.
So leaf blowers, if it's still, for example.
Yeah, I was trying to mess with that. So yeah, we're just talking about weed whackers. Are you okay with that, Joy?
Yeah, I gave my prior concurrence,
Okay.
so that's fine.
All right. I think it has a bad date, so you can revisit it if you like. Questions or concerns?
Well, a question.
Yeah, Senator Wong.
The amendment would have been made so that the government doesn't operate earlier than those hours as well?
They would, unless there was an emergency, they would be subject to the same set of hours.
My concern on that would be they already don't cut the grass enough on the side of our roads next to all of our houses, so we're gonna give them more reason to say, hey, you told us not to.
Yeah, well,
So I'll vote no on this
the
one.
flip side of that is in Chinatown, it's leaf blowers, but it's the government, it's the county that does the leaf blowing starting at like 6 a.m. So the bars close at 2:30, the rubbish trucks come at 3:30, and then the leaf blowers start at 6. So I don't know, vote however you want, of course, but that's where I'm coming from on that one. Any other questions, concerns, thoughts? If not, Senator Gabbard.
Okay, on SB 3011, recommendations to pass with amendments, noting the no vote of Senator Hua. Any other no votes or reservations? Hearing none, the measure passes.
Okay, thank you very much. That concludes our agenda. Thanks for being here.